presentation is from the Toastmasters Success Communication Series. It's a PowerPoint presentation, and it is always with trepidation that I use PowerPoint. So I put the presentation together in PowerPoint, and I decided I needed to think outside the box and think of another way to present this where I don't have to stand up here and use that thing. So you have before you a handout called Mental Flexibility, which is simply my notes from the PowerPoint presentation. If you'd like to follow along in the handout, please do so. Also in front of you are two of the happiest candies in Candyland, the Laffy Taffy and the Jolly Rancher. Now, when you think of taffy, what words come to mind for you?
Pull.
Pull, chewy, dentist, sticky. Anything else? America. No taffy in Russia, huh? It's just too flexible of a candy, maybe. Russia's a little more Jolly Rancher, a little more hard. Nuggets of Nirvana. So I chose taffy because in my mind, taffy is the flexible of all candies. If you hold that Laffy Taffy in your hand during my presentation, it'll get warmer and soften up. And then you can take it out and roll it in your hands, and you can make a rope out of it. And you can take that rope and, bend it into a pretzel or smoke it like a fake cigarette, which looks just as stupid as a real cigarette. But you can play with your taffy, and it's just a flexible candy. And that's what the presentation is all about. This presentation is about mental flexibility. Mental flexibility is the ability and willingness to adapt to changing reality. And all of us, whether it's in our personal lives or our work lives, have to adapt to changing realities. The essence of mental flexibility is the ability to handle different situations in different ways, especially to respond effectively to new, complex, and problematic situations. It's a way of approaching them that allows you to adapt your behavior so you can achieve the best outcome. Why is it important to be mentally flexible? Well, if you are mentally flexible, you are a better listener, a keener observer, a more skilled thinker, and a more effective problem solver. And again, whether you are at work or at home, these are tremendous skills to have. And if you're wondering, am I mentally flexible? Ask yourself, do you see things from several different perspectives? Do you tolerate ambiguity and uncertainty? Do you willingly take risks? Do you adapt to change and learn from your mistakes? Do you solve problems in new ways? And can you switch between practical and non-practical thinking? On your handout is a little tiny chalkboard. If you're mentally flexible, you see the impossible and you think possible. You see the unattainable and you think attainable. And for those of you who think, I can't change, this is just who I am, experts in behavior science view mental flexibility not as a personality trait or a state of mind, but as a set of behaviors that can be changed. Everyone is flexible about some things and inflexible about others. When you think of flexibility as something I do and not who I am, you will start to realize that you can make lasting and positive changes that may open up opportunities for some relaxation, laughter, and joy. If you'd like to become more mentally flexible, these are the steps to do it. First, you need to identify where you have been inflexible. Accept your behavioral history. So self-observing and say, you know what, that was a situation where I didn't give, or I didn't change, or I did the same thing every time. Identify places where you can compromise. If you, in your personal relationships, are always the one to pick the movie, maybe let your spouse or significant other choose a movie next time. And then put those changes into action. Practice your flexible actions. If you set small goals, say, I'm going to go to this meeting today, and I will purposefully not be the first one to speak up. That's a small goal. And then reward yourself when you achieve that goal. And understand that failure is functional. As long as you learn from it, you can always start over. Keep in mind that most people didn't become inflexible overnight. And often we have been rewarded for our inflexibility. If you speak up in a meeting, or if you stand your ground and that was the right ground to stand. But it's not always going to be the case. When you practice flexible actions, you want to be open-minded, be willing to suspend judgment, think on your feet, and try to change your mind once in a while. One of the things I hope to do, in my work at least, I've noticed there's so many things where I've been at the very beginning of projects or at the beginning of things, and I have the history. So if we're in a meeting and people ask questions, I usually have something to say or I have something to contribute. And I noticed one time last week that I was the only one speaking up, and I was the first one speaking up. And it occurred to me that maybe I needed to be quiet for a little bit and count to 10 and give somebody else an opportunity to talk. And that was wonderful because it did give other people the chance to say what they wanted to say. And I thought to myself, I need to do that more often. I haven't yet, but I will do that more often, starting today. Just to summarize some components of mental flexibility is that it helps you practice your listening skills and your skills in patience. That it allows you to focus on different attitudes, your open-mindedness, your willingness to suspend judgment, and my favorite is no opinionitis. I encourage you this Valentine's Day to go forth in the world and be flexible like a Laffy Taffy and not a Jolly Rancher. Thank you.